Yeah, so we've got this, project that we're putting together for Iowa City SEO that is
Yes.
going to make use of your amazing director's cut skin for Genesis Dynamic that I've been playing around with, that I've installed on a couple of my sites. But what we
Oh, yeah.
wanted to really do was just kind of sit down and, show people, who you are, who I am, and how we kind of use this, this theme and this skin to get a website up, make it look good, and then one of the things I wanted to do is talk a little bit about the semantic, schema markup and why that's so important and how it integrates with the theme and how much we have to know about it and how much we just get to say, oh, the theme takes care of it and that kind of thing. Does that sound good?
Yep. Yeah, that
Cool.
sounds good.
Cool. Okay, so
Everyone seems to freak out about the schema.
well, it's because nobody can spell it. They don't know if there's a C and an H or, I don't know, 3 consonants in a row is like some weird kind of thing. So I think it throws people off.
And yet they say it in school all the time.
All right, so I've got myself logged in to the dashboard on Iowa City
Cool.
SEO. And so what I'm going to do real quick, guys, is just do a screen share so that we are looking at what I am looking at here. I think that's the right frame. Make sure it comes through. Yeah, so that is the dashboard, regular WordPress dashboard that we are logged into Iowa City SEO. So it currently, I'll just click over to look at the site. This is what it looks like currently. It's got a few pages
Nice.
of content, but not really much. Greg has started doing some SEO to it, so we wanted to get kind of some content on a few of the pages. The menu for it. Looks like we might wind up doing some stuff with silos potentially. I'm not sure. We'll find out. But there's just a few pages here that have articles on them for reputation management, social media, and web design. So depending on how they move forward with the rest of the content, we'll kind of leave that as is. But we're definitely going to dress up the way this thing looks and also how it functions as far as how Google sees it functioning. So, all right, Mike, tell me what to do. I don't know how to use WordPress, dude.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to
Neither
do,
of
first
us
thing we're
believe
going
that
to
one.
do is get kind of the 2 new themes that we're going to put on it, which are Genesis and Dynamic. You guys, you put a great tutorial together. I just actually watched it a few hours ago again of how to go through all the details. So we're not going to recover all that, but what I do want to do is kind of have a little bit of back and forth dialogue on how some of these things work and why they're important and what, maybe some details we need to pay attention to, if that sounds okay.
Cool.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to go to themes here. And because we currently do not have Genesis available nor Dynamic, we're going to go ahead and add them. I have them on my desktop, so bear with me for a second because I'm going to have to navigate to my horrible file structure on my computer and find them. So we're already here. Oh, this stuff. So may trim a little bit of this out in the final version, but we've got themes, we've got Genesis framework, and then here's my Genesis, which I purchased a while ago and I've been using for a long time. We'll go ahead and install that and then activate it.
No,
And once it's activated, how long does it take to trigger?
I don't normally activate it.
You don't activate it? Oh.
No.
Is it going to cause a problem to activate it? Should I take it back off?
No, it's not going to cause a problem. It's just one less step.
Just an extra step. Okay, well, I tend to be over-diligent and less productive than I could be. I need a little exercise. You see, I sit around and work on the computer now and have gained a substantial amount of weight. So extra steps are not that big of a deal for me. So we're going to go ahead and just install, in addition to Genesis, we're going to install Dynamic. And that'll be that. Now I should activate this at the moment. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yep.
So now we've got Genesis Dynamic version 1.7, I think is kind of what I've got running here. Okay, so since those are both active, we can go over and check the site. It should look different. Yep, all jumbled, all crazy. And that's because we've got to upload the skin and a couple setting files to get it looking the way we want it to look. So we'll go ahead and go back over to the dashboard.
I usually jump into, at this point, the dynamic settings, or dynamic settings, and activate the thing that allows you to do any updates and stuff.
What are you talking
so
about?
Where it's got
general settings?
The dynamic license options.
Yep.
So that's when I put my license key in there.
Oh, this is interesting because I bought Genesis before it went to the licensed version.
Yep.
So I typically don't have to put this in there.
Yes. Yeah. The only reason why that's why you may not see some of the triggered updates. So you'll be able to, so whatever is the latest version of Dynamic, you can obviously download that, but it won't prompt you to update it until you put the license in there. And if you bought it before it went to the different thing, you just get an unlimited license.
Oh, right on. And that's in Cobalt apps, is that right?
Correct.
So if I just navigate there and log in, I'll get my code. There we go. Let that load up. Go to my account. Cool.
And one of the reasons why you want to keep Dynamic up to date is because every time it updates, it goes to the latest version of Font Awesome is one of the things.
Right. You know what? I noticed that one of my Font Awesome, I had a couple of those blue question marks, and it may have been something that broke.
Yep.
It's interesting you mentioned that. So is it going to be my licenses here? That's for 13.
Yeah. So it.
Or where am I looking? Or is this very different?
Probably. No. You're right there. It's either going to. I think it's going to be the $127 one.
I would think so.
So view licenses.
No license keys for this purchase. Let's see what this is. This one's a little later.
There you go. You might want to pause your screen so you don't give away your.
Yeah, I'll do that. I want people.
Then people will be like, "Oh, Fletcher's got an unlimited license." I just
You're
use
so
his.
much more savvy on this stuff than I am, Mike. I'm just giving it all away here. So you click Manage Sites, and then that's what gives you. No sites have been activated, so you essentially just put the URL here, which is going to be. Is that how that works?
Actually, no. I suppose you could. I usually just hit the. I usually hit the Go Back button there. I hadn't even seen it go like that. If you hover over the key icon.
The key icon. Where am I here?
There's like this little gold key.
Oh, this thing. Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're going to get rid of the screen share. I already showed it, so I guess it doesn't matter. But why is it there I am. Hi. Cool. So now we're going to go back.
People are furiously pausing it.
I know. Exactly.
Of course, the thing is, though, when you
8 million people on my license here that I can do this. So.
And of course,
I'm going to go ahead and paste
if anyone
that.
does do that, you can always change your key, and then that leaves them in trouble.
And then they have to pay the money. Okay, so I got that. I'm going to hit
Serves them right.
Okay, I'm not going to worry about. It says inactive for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yep. So then you have to hit activate. So you've got to save it, and then you've got to activate it. It's like a 2-step thing.
Oh, okay, cool. So activate. Get rid. Oh, now we got the green. I'll show you guys what it looks like because it's so pretty.
Green is good.
Green is good. We like green on the internet. Okay, cool. So now we're good. We've got an active license for Dynamic. Ready to roll. So
then I would go and update Genesis. See where it says at the top 2.1.2 is available. Given that you've got 2.0.1 installed, it's probably good to do that.
Get that thing updated. New and fancy. Keep people from hacking us. And keeping these themes up to date is something we can do not only for functionality but for security. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have some plugins that you talked about in those videos with iTheme security that we probably won't cover the installation of, but just keeping these themes up to date is very, very good practice to make sure your site is as secure as it can be. Okay, so jumping back into Genesis here, what's the next step that we're going to go ahead and take? Are we going to get the skin put in?
Yep.
Okay.
So settings and design are the two tabs for the skin.
Okay, so if we go to settings first, is that okay as far as procedure?
Yeah, doesn't matter which order.
And then we're just going to go ahead and navigate to the director's cut file, which you would have downloaded. And then this is going to be the DAT file. Is that right, Mike? Or is this a zip file?
Probably. There's one that's called settings and one that's called design.
Oh, well, you know what? You shouldn't have named it so logically. I wouldn't have had... Okay, so settings. Okay, we're good. So that was the settings file, which is the DAT file. So we've got the yellow banner there that says complete. So we're good. I always hit save. I don't probably need to, but and then we'll move over to design. And
one of the issues often people get is that they're like, it doesn't work. And I said, do you unzip it? They're like, oh, you're supposed to unzip the first file? I was like, the file that says unzip first. Yeah, it's good to unzip that one first.
That's why I like the way you do things, because it's so dummy-proof that if they do come back and need to ask a question, it's like, oh yeah, I probably should have just read that, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get the rest of kind of the skin settings updated here in the skin import file, which is going to be in the design section, which is then a zip file. We will choose that and upload it. Now, what I want to do at this point, Mike, is just shoot right ahead to step 15. I've memorized the step in your README file, which is enjoy a cool beverage.
Everyone seems to love that step.
That's the best step there is. So, yeah, anyway, so we're good here. I'm going to hit save again. We'll jump back over and see what the site is starting to take shape as now, which, yeah, some of the widgets and stuff moved around, but for the most part, we've got some crazy stuff going on with the parallax and how big the header is and all that kind of thing, which we're going to address and change, right?
Yep.
So, going back into the dashboard, what do we need to do next, Mike?
Well, I'd go into the widgets and fix what's going on with that.
Going on with the widgets.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense to me.
You can see what's going on.
Okay, so we've got...
So it's all in the header right, so they've got
I
would push them into the primary sidebar one.
Just
But rather than take them out, I'd put them into primary sidebar.
In a primary sidebar. Okay, so we'll just drag them down here. And put them,
so those other two should be in your inactive widgets.
So yeah, I think there was a categories I drug out of there, and maybe a date or something, wasn't it? Nah, it doesn't matter.
So
calendar, there it is. And then I haven't changed any of those. That should be good. There's no save for the page. Those are pretty much, they update on the fly, is that right? Yeah, obviously. I didn't hit save, and we've navigated back over to how the site currently looks, and it's very different. Okay, so widgets are starting to take shape. Don't necessarily have the content we're going to eventually have, but the site definitely looks a lot better than it did when we first started. Now, beyond that, Mike, what do we do from here? Do we need to kind of decide what we want to do with the widget areas and the hook boxes, or?
Yeah, I usually, at this point, I usually jump in and add the Simple Edits plugin.
Oh yeah, that's right. Now that's something I really hadn't used that much before. Would you talk about that and what the functionality it adds and how it lets you kind of play with the footer and stuff?
Yeah, it's something that is a little annoying with Dynamic, that it gives you control over everything except that little darn footer. I don't know why they don't just incorporate the simple edits into the footer. So yeah, it's that Genesis simple edits one. Yeah, that's right.
So we're going to go ahead and install that. And what that'll do is...
So that just gives you control over that area that you should already have control over, but you don't. So
that they have locked away in some kind of secret file. Okay, so that's now activated, which will let us be able to control the information we have down in the footer section, which I think is where you have the social media widgets or the social media kind of icons and things like that. So very cool. Got simple edits installed, which is nice. From there, more plugins or some design stuff?
Yeah, sometimes I add some extra plugins, like if I'm doing contact form or something like that. Right. But that's more a decision for later.
Yeah, we'll reconvene on that with.
Cool.
I'm not sure whether or not I am taking full control and responsibility for design and functionality, or I'll ask Mike and Greg and probably Jimmy what they're going to do on that side of things. But
so I jump over to Pages and create a home page, unless you've already got a home page.
We do, but we'll go ahead and get that set with the right template. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So if
You've been using it.
Giving it away. I'm not a complete beginner. I know how to push the wrong buttons. That's what I do. Okay, so now what we've done is just gone to the home page, or the page that's going to have content that you want to put on your home page. If you don't have it yet, you can make one new and just put blah, blah, blah on there as a placeholder so you can kind of see what you've done. But since we already had content here, what we're going to do is to just make sure that the name is something that we remember so we can have it set properly. And then we're going to make sure that we check the pick list here for Director's Cut Home. And what that's going to do is make sure that home page is set to this content, and then also the groupings of kind of design features, which is a combination of the HTML and CSS that lets us have all those widget areas on the home page that we may be familiar with at this point in time, but if not, it's going to start making it look like this, which gives us the option. I think we have two page templates in this theme. Is that right? Or in this skin, Mike?
Well, the basic templates is the home page and then everything else.
And everything else, right. And everything. And the home page we can customize by changing that custom CSS page at the end and everything like that. So yeah, I was kind of playing around. That tutorial you gave on that, and I'm a member of your website design academy as well, which I've gained immense value out of. But you just walking through and showing how you can take pieces of those widget areas, whether it's the color or the 4-column or the 3-column or whatever, and move them around or delete them, was invaluable. Saved me so much time being able to understand that. So that was really
awesome.
Cool. All right, where are we here? Whoops. Don't need to watch your tutorial videos on it. I've got you live. Okay. So here we are on a page that's starting to kind of take shape. We've got some content here. We've got some areas that are showing up for the titles and the footer areas and things like that. So back in the dashboard now, what can we do to kind of dress up the top here? I've got the URL for a YouTube video, which we need to kind of get put in place. I know that's something that we want to do. We might leave the contact form that's kind of traditionally placed beside that video. We'll leave that out for right now, but let's see if we can get that YouTube video in place in that, I think it's the hook after header area, if I'm not mistaken, or something just below that.
Hook header right.
Hook header right. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and jump in here. And then we're going to go to Appearance and Widgets.
Yep.
And then we're going to look for this header right.
Home header left is where you want to put the YouTube video.
So,
and then because there's nothing going into because we're not doing the the contact form, we'd normally put a blank text widget into home header right.
Okay, great. So we just essentially go over on the left here to these available widgets. Text, even if you grab it and drag it someplace else, it will keep a version of itself over on the left there. So you can grab them and drag them into both areas that we need them right here. So we've got one on the left and one on the right both. So the one on the right now we're going to leave blank. It's essentially kind of a placeholder that we can put that contact form in when we get to that point. but the hook header left text area, we essentially, now this is something that this is one of the times that we start to encounter some of the kind of the semantic markup, the schema markup, right, Mike?
Yep.
To tell us kind of what some of the metadata and more information about the video is, in addition to having an iframe embed. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's right.
Okay, so let me grab
and incorporated into the schema markup for, with the example code is also some stuff that will allow the video to go responsive, which is always good.
Very cool. So that block of code that we have in that README file is going to let it not only have the appropriate markup, but also be responsive as per the way you defined the way the theme will react on different devices.
Yep.
Okay. So what I did, I killed my screen share real quick so I can grab the actual location of the, where did we go here? Of the YouTube video that we're going to embed, and then we will just, why does this not let me grab it? There we go. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and drop this in a browser just so everybody can kind of see what we're doing.
Welcome to iOS.
I'm not sure if that started playing through the audio or not, but let me jump back over to, that's perfect. Alright, so I'm going to do a screen share again, guys, so we can see what I'm working on. Essentially, I just paused it so that I could grab the file out of a area that had a bunch of other information. So we're still in the same place here, header left, and here is essentially the YouTube video URL. But we don't want to grab this. We actually want to come down here to share and grab this URL. Is that correct, Mike, for the embed?
Generally, what I do is I grab the example code.
Okay, so you want to start with that. Okay, so let me.
Yep.
I'm just going to grab that off screen share currently because it's going to take a second to grab. It is director's cut. Oops. Stop. This is going to be right there. Okay, so now I've got the README file popped up here, and I'm going to scroll down to the section that says home header left and grab this entire block of code and just copy it.
Yep.
And do I need to grab, let me look here and see what the code looks like. Yeah, I don't need
So I've got there's actually two videos there. I've got the example with the schema markup and then another one without the schema markup.
Right on, perfect. We're going to grab the one that has the schema markup, which is a larger block of text, and then we're just going to paste that right here. And so that is the kind of block of code that we're working with. What we really need to do, though, is to grab the actual URL here for that video. That is the, I guess, kind of placeholder video. And swap that out.
I don't yet.
Is that right?
So, yeah, so go to the video. This will just make life easier.
Okay.
And then, so you've got youtube.be, then that FVLBB, etc. That part there, I just copy that.
Right on.
Yeah.
We'll go back over here, and we'll just replace.
And then I don't replace the entire URL. Yeah, that's right.
Just that piece. Okay, perfect. That's good to know.
Yeah. Oh, you may have grabbed the whole thing. So,
all right, so we're going to step back on edit here, undo paste, and see what I did improperly.
Yeah, it's forcing you to grab the whole thing. So I'll actually grab it from the URL. Yeah, I usually get it from the URL. Okay. Yeah, either way is fine. If you grab too much, then you could always just paste it below there.
Right on. Just do kind of a stepwise copy and paste. Okay, cool. So
yeah.
We're just gonna
so you're going to have it in a couple of different places. So that's one.
Okay, that's cool.
And then above the line above that.
Right here. That second.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to paste it there too. Okay, cool.
And then there's another one just above that. So 2 lines, 3 lines above it.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to paste it there as well.
And then you got to change the name from Devon Supertramp Best of Now or Never to whatever the name of the video is.
So we're going to go ahead and just go over here and grab this title, copy that, and then come over here to this area that's highlighted, which is the Devon Supertramp Best of Now or Never, and we're just going to paste over the top of that. So that's going to feed essentially the right markup and the right embed codes to let Google know what the heck the video is about, as well as have our website display it and play it properly regardless of the device it's being viewed upon. Is that right?
Correct.
Cool. All right.
You got to make sure if there's quotes in the title from YouTube or whatever, you got to make sure that they are removed.
Go away, right? Because it would change kind of the formatting of this. This is CSS, is that right, Mike, or is this HTML? Or I don't know.
HTML.
Goes to show you don't need to know much of anything other than cut and paste to do some of this stuff. Okay, so we've hit save here. We're going to jump back over here, and sure enough, we've got the video sitting there. And if we hit play, it should play.
Welcome to Iowa City SEO.
Mike's just melodic voice. Different Mike. No accent Mike.
No accent Mike.
We'll call him No Accent Mike. Your accent Mike. Okay, cool.
Good to know.
Yeah, we've got that going on. I'm coining that term right now. We'll just go with it. So things are kind of starting to take shape. We're going to be able to kind of. I'm trying to think what we want to do beyond this. What would you recommend us?
I do a title just above that.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to have a title, but
yeah.
you know, it's always good to have an
Perfect.
intro.
That's be a widget
Welcome
area.
To my website.
Right. That's a widget area as well, Mike. Is that correct?
Yep. It's the very last one, home title.
Home title right here. So we're going to grab a text box and drag it over there.
Yep.
And then do you typically put your, you don't put your title in the title though, you put it in the text box potentially?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why I do that is so that we can use H1 as opposed to the default H4.
I got you. So if you put it in the actual title box, you're going to get a default H4 tag instead of the H1 that we're going to put here.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So then we just do a H1, and then close it. Was it this slash? How does this work?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And you don't need the space.
No spaces in there. Not needed.
Yep.
So we'll back those out. Right on. Let's save.
If you wanted a subtitle, you can put in H2 underneath that, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, let's just give one here to see what it's going to look like.
The best darn SEOer in the country.
Okay. All right, let's hit save. And it looks like it's done. Oops. Don't do that. Okay, so now we've got a title telling us kind of about what this video is and what we also might find here, which when we put the data form in, whether it's gravity form is it gravity forms, or what did you use for your example, Mike?
I used contact form 7 for my example.
Okay, cool. Well,
but I mean, I've seen Aweber forms and gravity and all kinds of different things. Even not even a form like a call to action buttons and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's kind of actually think what I'm going to do with my website is just put a kind of call to action button.
Yeah.
And that will be, you know, for people. We'll get to that later in the design piece. Most likely in a different segment of the videos that we do, but we've got a webinar coming up here that Mike and I are both going to jump over on. So that'll be what puts a piece of information here, and that will be the hook header right. Is that right, Mike?
Yes. Home header right.
Or home header right, I'm sorry. I keep throwing these hook boxes in here. So it's going to be what we put here. So let me get to that point. Right on. Okay, cool. So let's get do we have navigation present on the home page yet to get to those inner pages yet? We do not.
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and get that mapped out.
Yep.
This is a good time for that. So do we go ahead and go to menus in appearance here?
Yep.
Okay. So what we're going to do, and this was something that I think you called your standard menu.
Yeah, I was given a name that makes
Go ahead and
sense.
just create a menu since there was none existing. And you have these kind of mapped, ideally, to be the responsive drop-down 1. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
So we'll get that done. And then we'll just grab these 3 pages that we currently have and add them to menu. We're going to leave home out because you can navigate to home by just kind of clicking on the home title or the icon up in the upper left on the main page. So we'll go ahead and hit save, and then the order's fine. You can drag them around if you want to, but until or unless we have other reasons. Now we don't have to manage locations, or do we need to? Whoops.
Yeah, you need to put it into the widget.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and into the widget. Okay. So once that's saved, then we go back over to Appearance Widgets, and that's going to be header right. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
And then where is my...
So it's a custom menu, second from the top there.
Cool. Just drag that over, drop it. We don't need to name it anything, and we're going to make sure that we select that menu we just named and added those pages to. Hit save.
Mm-hmm.
That should be good. And then we're going to pop back out here, and sure enough, we've got our 3 pages that are now visible to navigate to. And those should be defaulted to kind of the standard page format, which includes a sidebar on the right. And then if we want to, I remember now on the example that you walked through, what you did in that header right area was to add a phone number. Is that correct?
Yep.
So let's go back over there. I'm going to turn my screen share off again real quick just to grab the right piece of information. So we can drop a phone number in there. All right. And then let me grab the phone number that we need. Where is it? There it is. Copy that. There it is. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and do another screen share. Okay, so now we're back here on this header right area. What we're going to do is grab just a text box, drag it over.
It's annoying that it's so low.
And we can drop it, and then we're going to actually drag it above the custom menu. Is that right?
Yep.
So the placement is going to be like that. And then, do you remember what code you had in here for sizes or anything, Mike? On that side?
Yeah, I just had the text and then span class equals header phone for the actual phone number itself.
Oh yeah, well, that's way more than I can keep track of. Let me look and see what it looks like right now. So right now we got the phone number up here, and there's a way. I remember you saying that if we go to users, we can get rid of this edit bar, so that when you're actually clicking back and forth, you don't have this black bar. This black bar essentially covers up part of what will normally display on a website. So looking at the way it looks now, it looks like you're actually missing part of the phone number, but for a user that does not have a login that's cookied into WordPress here, they will see the entirety of the site. So we'll play around with design on that a little bit when I kind of go back through. Like I said, I'm not going to recover everything that Mike did a great job with as far as all the little nuts and bolts of making things look just right. I wanted to kind of just have a back and forth dialogue with getting this thing set up and looking good and usable. But one of the things I did want to kind of talk to you about, semantic is a big subject, but what within this theme and why is it important to have that extra, metadata or data about the types of information that we're displaying here. How does that work, and why is this skin that you've built able to perform better than a skin you might just go buy off of the internet in a different location?
Well, one of the things that we know from SEO is that we're trying to communicate the relevance of our website to the search engines. So we put in content that's about the particular keywords. We use the LSIs, and we do the siloing and all that kind of stuff. But the schema is actually it's a way of talking to machines in their language. Because we understand and interpret meaning from things, whereas machines, they're just like everything's black and white, yes and no. In fact, their code at its base is yes or no for everything. So ones and zeros. So when you're trying to convey that this, for example, this Iowa City SEO is actually a business called Iowa City SEO. It's located in this spot and all this kind of stuff. That's why you use the schema markup. Some of the example code that I've put into the README file is essentially with the social accounts, is essentially telling Google and any other machines, because schema is far bigger than Google, is telling them, okay, so this is the website that we're talking about, and then these are their social media accounts, in the same way that verifying your Google Plus profile, the business and all that. It's a similar sort of thing. It's all about, I guess, certainty. And so, like, for example, what we did with this video is essentially telling the machines, okay, this is actually a video. It's not a flash presentation. It's not, it's not just a picture. And they could probably figure out that it's video, but then you're also telling them, okay, well, this is the title. This is, this is the image that I want you to use for displaying it. And so it's kind of like, it's talking to machines in a common language. So, I mean, you can, like, without schema, it's kind of like when you go to a foreign country and you're using hand signals and sounds and stuff to communicate with them. Schema is more actually learning their language and speaking to them in that language.
That's an awesome metaphor. I think that will help a lot of people understand why this extra, why the extra pieces of information are so important. To let Google just not be confused about the kind of information and the kind of entity we are when we're putting things out there, for the websites we build for either clients or for ourselves, and why really it will function so much better. It's just one less piece of confusion that Google has to try to figure out.
Exactly.
Right on. Cool, Mike. Well, so, we're coming up kind of on another webinar that we're going to jump on. In all likelihood, Mike and I will probably jump on maybe another video or two to go over kind of maybe some more of the design elements and or functionality, depending on kind of how things shake up. But really wanted to just make sure that this was something that we are really doing a good job of covering, because it is so important and such a powerful tool. And Mike has put so much work into getting this thing really functioning properly. I know this has been something that's been on your plate for a long time, Mike. Just making sure that not only is it functional, but all the instructions and the installation and how we interact with it is on par really with the language and terminology and functionality that we are kind of setting up for best practices for really kind of SEO web design, which is what you really specialize in now.
Yep.
Yeah, right on, buddy. Well, this is cool. I'm glad we got a chance to kind of catch up on things. We're going to go ahead and cut this video off here, but we'll be talking again in the subsequent videos about some more elements that we are going to include that you'll see displayed if you go visit this site live when you get a chance to. So, Mike,
cool.
Thank you so much. We'll jump over on this other webinar, and we'll catch up on subsequent videos very soon.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike.
It's in a touch.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, everybody, we are back with some continued website design on the Iowa City SEO demo site. So as you can see here, we've kind of started the work in getting things looking good, but we do have a few things here that are not quite right yet and have not been completed. So we're going to jump into the dashboard real quick. Already logged in. And then we're going to go over here to appearance and widgets. So this appearance and widgets area is where a lot of the kind of dressing up will be done on the home page. As you can see, we've got a lot of different areas here, widget areas that Mike has gone through, you know, definitely step by step on how we get them kind of dressed up and looking good. Most of the time what we'll be doing is adding these text areas. Where is our text? Essentially here. You can just go grab these and go and drop them where you want them over here. So it's a little tough. I'm going to drag this down some so we can get it on the screen without having to scroll too much. So what we're going to do is just kind of work through in sequential order, just like Mike showed in his tutorial. Essentially being able to, as we looked here, we've got the video embed here, but we do need a little opt-in kind of text box here. So we're going to go grab that and get that put together. So I'm going to, go grab this real quick, and I'll come right back. Okay, went and copied the data from the README file that is kind of denoted as home contact form, and we're going to drop that in a text area here. This is just a text area that we drug over, just like that, in the home header right. So we're going to go ahead and drop this here. Just copy and paste. Always got to make sure you hit save on these widget areas on each one. So that should be saved. So we can go back and see what those changes meant. Okay, so now we've got at least a text area here. We've got to put some information in it. So we'll go back in and get that dressed up. Okay, so what I've done is to copy out of the text file, the README file, the README text file. There's some code in there that Mike has put together for the contact form. So we're going to go over here to contact. That takes us to contact form 1. And we're going to edit this. And we're going to essentially just highlight this, and I'm going to paste over the information from that README file. And then we're going to make sure we save it. Then we can kind of follow along with what Mike did with changing the name. Oops. Just home contact form. Save that. Okay, and so then this code then becomes what we are going to copy, and then go over to appearance and widgets. We're going to go over here to the home header right area. We just created a text box here with a title, Call Us Today. I'm going to paste this in. Make sure that we click Save. And once that's saved, we can head back over to the main page. And we've got a nice little contact form here. So that takes care of this home header area. Or is it home header? Yeah, I think that's what the name of it is. Yeah, home header left, home header right. So then we're going to continue to move through and dress up the rest of the pages and get some text box entered here. There's actually going to be a lot more data that expands once we drop a text into these widgets areas. That's what will give the background colors and all that kind of thing. Okay, everybody, welcome back. I hit pause real quick just to save kind of some redundancy on copy and pasting. So essentially what we can see here is that each of these areas now has placeholder text. It's just lorem ipsum stuff. Followed Mike's instructions from lipsum.com and just grab some filler text so we could kind of see what's going on as we got these text boxes filled up on the home page here. So I'll show you exactly kind of what that looks like, just so you know exactly what was going on there behind the scenes. You know, it took about 5 minutes of just essentially dragging a bunch of text boxes from here over to these different widget areas. So we've got the color 3. You see there's 3 of these here. There's a text box in each. Each has the same content in it currently. So that matches up with the 3 color combinations right under the header area, or the home header area. What we've got below that, well, let's just go look and I'll show you. Below that is a 4 column area. So in the widget's appearance, the column 4, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. And again, just a text box in each of them to get the text to populate something. Until there's a text box dropped with some text in it, those areas, those widget areas, won't really show on the home page. So that's why I wanted to drop a text box in each and copy some of just the generic Latin text into them, so we kind of see what we're looking at here. So the next thing we're going to do is address these titles, subtitles, second subtitle, and things like that, just to make it look like it's a good site, and to kind of give a break between these different content areas and talk about really what's coming next in each of these sections. So let me get that going. Okay, so then once in the dashboard again, we're going to go into Genesis and Custom, and we're going to check out these widget areas, or hook boxes, I'm sorry. And so the second section here, you can kind of drag it down, and this is where all of the widget areas essentially are divvied out. Means they're kind of created in this location, and we can kind of see different features about them. So we can see here internal subheader 1. That's one of the things we're going to change out. That's associated here with the home column 4. So that's the 4 column section is going to have an internal subheader heading, and then we've got a couple others right here. The first subtitle, and then what else do we have here? Right here, second subtitle. So we're going to swap these out on the 4 column, which is where? Right up here. Let's go ahead and change this to online marketing domination. And then we're going to change first subtitle to full service SEO, and then we're going to go down here to second subtitle, dominate your market. Okay, we're going to save these. Got to make sure we save always. And then when we go back over to the site, what we're going to see is that now these areas will actually give us some decent information about what this next section is going to be about. So I'm going to go in and kind of dress up these areas a little bit and kind of have them correspond with these titles. So I'm going to get some text written for each of these areas and just paste it in. You'll be able to go back over to this demo site and check out what I've written. But I will kind of show you what I'm going to probably include some Font Awesome FA, you know, kind of pieces of all those little icons to break up and dress up this front page just to make it look really good, make it pop. So I'm probably going to go ahead and hit, I may stop this video right here, and then we'll resume with another video where we go in and talk about what that actually was. Okay, just started a new video to kind of break things up for you guys. We're going to go ahead and dress up some of these widget areas now with some of the Font Awesome icons. To do that, what we're going to do essentially is just again follow Mike's wonderful instructions. We're going to jump into the widget areas here under Appearance, and we started with the color 3. So that's the first section that we have on our website showing up. So we'll just start there. Essentially what we can do is just put a title in each of these so we see what's going on. Let's save. Bring that up. Just a second. Save that. Bring it up. This down. Third. You'll see why this actually makes it look really nice when you add a title to this text box. What we're going to do is actually grab another text box and drop it above each of these that exist currently. So this is the second one. Takes a little while. I know I watched the videos. It kind of jumps around when we drag and drop these things, but as you're doing it, it's actually a lot easier than it might seem. Essentially, it's just kind of keeping track of where you are. We're in this color 3 section. So what we're going to do in that first text box is go over to that README file and grab the Font Awesome column information, which is at the very bottom of the README file, and then we're going to drop it here. So that's this one. This is for the microphone. What I'll do here is save it and just let you guys see what it looks like. Again, to not be repetitive, what we're going to do is make sure you follow that along. So we have a microphone dropped in here, which looks great. We also have a title and then the text area. So all this is one text box, and then this is a separate text box where this Font Awesome is. I can't highlight it, but if I hover over it, it lights up. It has a different hover. I think it's class. So once the cursor is over the icon, it changes color, which is pretty slick. So anyway, what I'm going to go through and do is add some more Font Awesome in here to these 3 sections, and then probably maybe put some more down here with the 3-column section as well, to just kind of break up the page and add some graphics and things like that.